that is here, right? If you look at the CS, like he's actually leading in terms of CS, 8-3 to the 4-0 of Klinks. So far, the game plan for the laning stage for EG is looking.
A lot of CS. Of course, their supports are not having the best time, especially Crit, but Sanking starting to jungle now. Zai did grab the level 1 Sandstorm, and you can see already some stacking happening here for Crit. Runes are about to spawn, and it will be a double damage rune top. Yaps are going to lay claim to that. So, oh, actually going to let mid 1 grab it. So yeah, EG actually doing pretty well here early. Like, for me, the big move that will probably decide the mid game and the course of this match, assuming nothing crazy happens to the lane stage, Lumi, is that jungle invasion. Do they get early towers? They are looking for the first blood here. Diving Arteezy, MP pressuring him. Does have the Sakuchi cooling down, but Zai stands strong and forces them back. Takes over the lane, at least for now, giving Arteezy a chance to salvo.
On paper, I think EG does have that early game push, like you're mentioning. They have Eidolons, they have Wolves, Howl on the Eidolons. That's a lot of burst damage that you can put on buildings. I really like the fact that Puppey is down here. He did not start in this lane. But it is important, because I don't think the Weaver by himself could keep down the Lycan. Lycan sitting at 4 HP regen per second will likely level Hero Impulse up again. I don't think Weaver could actually pierce through that much regen. So it is important for Puppey to walk up here, give him the 17% a little bit, and pressure Arteezy. Because you would love to trade farm as a Lycan here against a Weaver.
So now it's seeing like a boss. You know, you'd think the Klinks can really harass and slow down the Shaker. Not the case. 20-7 already.
Yeah.
Well, that matchup is not really working out as intended for Secret, especially considering they committed the Kunkka. Meanwhile, Kezu breaking relatively even here against Universe, getting out tonight a bit. But there is not like a clear lane win happening around the map right now for Secret, which again, it makes it more and more about that jungle invasion.
Right.
And that early pressure when EG try to play a little greedier.
And the narrative we had during the draft is that Secret needs to pull a little slightly ahead, right? Because they picked heroes like Klinks to be the cores. We're going to see a charge happening in the mid lane, but likely just a harassing one.
I think EG is very comfortable with the way these lanes are unfolding thus far.
Oh, for sure.
Any adjustments from Secret that you would like to see, Lumi?
I don't think there's any kind of big lane swap that you could do to kind of salvage any lane. I think it's kind of unfortunate how the lanes are going, and they need to just pick up kills with Yapzor as well as Puppey, which unfortunately for them, they are unable to pick up any, because Sanking and Batrider are some of the tougher supports that you could roam on right now.
Oh, that's Sandkane just continuing to sandstorm away in the woods while Puppey scouts out Crit. Both supports trying to farm the jungle now. This would ideally be around the time when you want to start striking if your team's Secret, but Klinks is not ready for that yet. He's only level 4. The Weaver, same thing, only level 4, so at best they can probably do is leech. They think about bringing in Yapzor, but he has second thoughts and rotates back towards bottom. So Secret just idly, for now at least, standing by while EG continue to play their greed game.
Sankey making the rotation up top, sneaks past behind some tree line.
Sumel's in a little bit far here. Could be an opportunity charge coming in. Puppey wants to go, he gets the bash. Yapzor's in position, but mid 1 didn't like the look of that dive. He backed off. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Zai committing and will find Kezu. That's the first blood.
Yep.
He was farming, but he quickly leaves the lane, and that is the beauty of how EG like to play, is that they seem to balance that greedier farming play with like making just enough moves to apply pressure and relieve some from the lanes for their cores.
It's just really hard to play against this playstyle by EG, because their supports are constantly missing off the map. And then as Secret, you're like, okay, are they jungling or are they just ganking me? And this charge happening.
Torrent, and then the follow-up charge. Burrow out. Can he get away? Surging forward, but the Spirit Breaker's stunned. Malefist preventing him from getting maximum value out of that surge. Can't even get onto the Sandkane in a 3v2. They fall short. Another disappointing outcome for Secret, and oh, more pain. Salt in the wound now as mid 1 gets fissure blocked away by Sumel. Snags that prize taste rune. Klinks is caught up in CS, so that is some good news for Secret, but still only even with the Earthshaker, not ahead as you would like.
Yeah, and Shaker hitting level 6 is going to be huge, especially with the haste rune. I'm going to look for a Sanking rotation here from Zai. They could easily pop that haste, walk up with the and then set up a Burrow Strike, and that is a dead Klinks. In fact, I think Klinks probably should start jungling and give the lane to Yapzor, because that gank is extremely, extremely likely.
Puppy's going to make his next move, this time towards bottom. Looking to die.
Ya.
Lagi pada buka ini kali dari ini konek internet mana?
Yang cari jodoh.
Ya pantesan.
Kenapa?
Ivartizi. Ideally, you'd love to see that Spirit Breaker moving with the Ion Shell on him, but not going to be happening this time. Teasy hugging the tower, playing defensively, does get charged, but Zai's already ready to cut this off, gets the 2-hero burrow, kills off Puppy, punishes him for his insolence, and mid one has to back away. So they commit both cores to this rotation. They're two beefy carries, and they might lose one of them here. Mid one and Viz, do they have detection?
No, they don't.
Doesn't look like it, but nonetheless, EG wasting a lot of secret time, coming out on top in these exchanges.
Yeah. Having this ward in the river, very common one at this stage of the game, but seeing the charge from Spirit Breaker is the reason why they were able to make that rotation as cleanly as they did.
There are the weak points in EG right now. Secret can't seem to find any. They're going to charge in mid. They look for Sumail, but the Echo interrupts the charge. Get the hell out of here, Puppy, he says. A fairly big cooldown expended, but of course, keeping himself alive means the phase boots can come out, or perhaps they'll just save and go directly into the Blink Dagger.
Likely gonna see in phase first. Yeah, he has it finished. And then most likely we're gonna go into the Blink next. No surprising build whatsoever. Still has that haste rune though.
I wonder if EG look to make a move with that. No smokes currently. And now the charge will be attempted on Universe. And this is the tricky thing for Secret, is Puppy's really got his work cut out for him, Lumi. Like, wherever you charge, there's so many heroes that can interrupt it. Universe can Malefice you, the Sand King can Burrow Strike you, the Earthshaker can Fissure. We saw yesterday the Flame Break did interrupt the charge, so while it doesn't cancel TPs, I guess it still works against the charge. There's a lot of ways to disrupt this initiation from Puppy.
I think that really the big problem for Spirit Breaker is that the lanes on its own are not winning. When you have advantage lanes, the lanes by themselves are already putting so much pressure, and then the Spirit Breaker could be so mobile across the map and apply even more pressure at these pressure points. The problem is, Secret are essentially losing all three lanes, and what we saw yesterday when I believe it was, I want to say, Execration that picked Spirit Breaker, exact same situation. Spirit Breaker by mid-game just felt like it wasn't even a hero, it was just a big melee creep. Couldn't apply any pressure anywhere, didn't do anything, and just quickly fell off. And I can't feel, but that's the same situation happening out for Puppy right now.
This is around the time where I thought Secret would want to really start taking over the map, invade the Radiant jungle, try and take a tower down early, shut down all the farming patterns. But Arteezy is farming freely in the woods for now. Crit looks like he's headed back to the woods, already hit level 5. Universe uncontested in the top lane, closing in on his Midas, has the gold now for it. Sumail having a whale of a time in the mid lane, so just still trying to find really even that first slight crack of an opening, and they just can't seem to do it. And in fact, they might not get one now, as EG are showing signs of a 5-man rotation towards the top lane. The warding.
Anjing. Mas, flashdisk gantung. Mana? Oh iya. Ah. Fuck. Kalau dipindah ke situ nggak bisa ya?
Apa?
Masih bisa nggak?
Streaming.
Iya.
Bisa.
Kepotong dong.
Has been impeccable. You mentioned the one more bottom. They might be able to get Sumail here, though. This could be huge. He's a bit isolated from his team. The lone cow could be punished. Charging for Puppy, gets the bash. Needs a little bit more. Kunkka coming in with the Torrent as well, trying to lock him down. They need that shaker. He walks back in. He gets up the Echo. He gets up the totem. He's going to kill mid one. Oh, not good. Not good for Secret. Stays alive, Sumail. The cojones on this one. That is painful, Lumi.
Dude, the man up. Like, he knew he was going to die if he tries to run anyway, so might as well fight for his teammates available. Zai, to me, MVP so far at every single fight to just counter-initiate. Man, you said yesterday we need, what is that, the Spidey Sense Award for players?
Yeah, we were joking, you know, like if there were new hexagons nowadays, you know, maybe one of the categories would be Spidey Senses.
And man, the Spidey Sense on Zai.
EG's like, you know, their MMR might be a little bit lower than Liquid's, but right now I'm feeling like their Spidey Senses is pretty
on top of things, for sure.
Yeah.
So
they do seem to have Secret figured out a little bit this game. Like, the warding position has been perfect, the rotations have been on point. And they're also out farming them all the while. So.
Middle, we're going to see Yapzor on the run here. Charge is going to come through here from Puppy. It looks like he will be fine. And This goes back to something I mentioned during the drafting stage. Now, as the mid-game approaches, you're seeing a level 6 Kunkka, barely going to pick it up, and then a level 4 Spirit Breaker. These two supports really want to be like 7 or 8 by this point, or soon after.
They want to have a kill.
Yeah,
like
they want to get something done.
You don't pick Clinks and Weaver as your cores and Spirit Breaker Kunkka with the Darkseer to not have kills, but
there you
get
go.
one. Universe taken down top.
Yeah.
There's an early hood pickup here for Kezu, and there's a lot of magic damage on EG.
For sure.
And the silver lining for Secret is that while all these shenanigans were happening up towards the top side of the map, they did finally take that bottom tower. That to me is actually extremely important. These outer towers, probably more so than the kills. Cutting down on where EG feels safe to farm when they have 5 heroes that are great at it is a huge way to limit their economy heading into the mid game.
I think taking the mid tower would be more important to the point that you made. If you could invade their jungle with the mid tower down, that's much better. But beggars can't be choosers. They are down, and maybe one thing that Kling's lineups can do is you could just backdoor tier 1 towers. Your damage output is so high. Maybe not with the level 1 strength, but maybe in a couple of minutes you can start thinking about that.
He's going to go back for Midas here. Not trying to rush the Desolator, got the counter on Medallion. Value damage / potentially Roche item if they have a really decisive team fight. But the key for Clinks has always been stay off the map. You know, constantly farm the jungle, be a threat to gank, try and force your opponents by your absence to clump up, to farm less freely. Midone definitely doing a good job of that right now.
Oh, I think
but you also have to balance that with, you know, actually getting some farm. You can't just constantly not be farming it off the map.
Look at the 3 hits, chunking crit down. The charge is going to get cancelled. I think that was a miscommunication from Secret.
Puppy was charging, and now the Blink Dagger reveal. Echo comes in, but that Clink's pretty tanky. Not the easiest takedown, and will be alive. Yaps are there to break the lasso. Nicely played, and now trying to run away. The charge through. Puppy piled up, straight back. Leave my bone Fletcher away, he says, but no, Spirit Breaker going to go down here. As Sumail comes in for round 2. Fisher's there, traps in mid 1, almost but not completely. He squirms away. Clinks has been losing weight, what little he has left, and now Zai low in the river, but EG only losing the bat as a trade for the Spirit Breaker. That was the Blink debut. Could have been worse, and you know, I think does showcase one of Clinks' strengths that he is a deceptive tanky for.
He also had the full buff on him, which made him super tanky. First slight victory here for Team Secret, although did not get any towers or objectives out of that, and that's going to be the game plan for Secret for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Get a small kill here and there, pressure towers, because we know the economy game for EG is just much better. They got the Enigma, they got the Midas running, he's approaching to level 15.
Oh,
top gank.
Look at mid 1. Guardian MP here. There's a top gank. Yeah. We'll take down Puppy. Constantly trying to deal with this Batrider, and his persistence pays off. Gets the kill. That might be the mid tower. That would be huge. He's going to play into it now. Strafe not available. Already used it for the kill. The Searing Arrows do quite a bit of work. EG, have to imagine, will be coming straight to defend this. They're walking through a scan, though. They were clipped by it. It's a Secret. Should know this is coming. They back away. Look for the reset. One using that medallion.
Once again, I think we're going to set up a gank here on Kezu up top. No shapeshift this time.
He's going to try to start with an enchant totem. Fissure comes through, hits the Darkseer. That's not the target he wants. Now the enchant totem back on the Spirit Breaker, but I think the jig is up, and Sumail wants to get the hell out of dodge. Still, though, tanking some Searing Arrows, dropping low. He's still extremely durable, but pulled back into the vacuum. The pain for EG as they lose 2 critical teamfight heroes.
That is the wombo combo that we're talking about, and man.
To think I doubted it, Lumi.
Yeah, Yapzor has been on point. As soon as he got that level 4 X marks the spot, it's just X non-stop, and it's just beautiful for these kind of small skirmish. We do see mid 1 backdooring the tier 1 as Puppy pushes crit away.
It is really, so much of the game is about this tower and that tower top. Taking those down opens the way to Roshan. It allows them to invade EG's jungle. Like, that is, if you were writing a script for Secret, those would be the 2 most important things, the Roshan and these tier 1s mid and top.
We're going to see that fight one more time, and look at the beauty that is the vacuum torrent bolt combo. You used to make highlight videos, or we're not going to watch that anymore because there's a fight in the river as we have Bat Rider getting cleaned up.
Crit is getting punished a lot. He's been, you know, running around on his own, trying to be that, you know, roving X Factor that can set up ganks or at least assist his teammates when they're being dove, but it's tough to get away with that against the Clinks. Mid one's constantly tracking him in the river.
Clinks in a Spirit Breaker.
He's also setting up vision for the charges, so it's a nice little synergy between these two heroes that Secret has been able to exploit.
I mean, he's playing on the Bat Rider, but assume he's kind of on like a Crystal Maiden or Venue role, right? Like, you're just playing the 5, you're trying to ward and create space for your team, and that's going to happen against these two very aggressive roamers.
As you can see, mid one again, charging Zai. Is the next to be caught out, and this is where having those towers down is oh so sweet.
But he's charging through a ward, so Zai is aware of the situation.
But doesn't matter, MP's going to get onto him. No teleport scroll on Zai. This could be trouble even without the Spirit Breaker actually connecting. One searing arrow, almost half his health down. MP wants to chase, he's committing for this. It's going to take a couple volleys of auto attacks to get the job done. He time lapses out. Not quite in time. Meanwhile, MP in danger. He's on the run.
Yeah, Spirit Breaker charged through an entirety of EG, so he just died, and now they're going to try to cut down EG. What a visual block! Traps MP in. Sakuchi's down, no time lapse, and he's going to get burned down. Vacuum Bolt, Torn, huge Echo Slam to take down the Weaver. The Bolt's going to come in. They will take down Arteezy as a trade. Can they get a little bit more? Yapzor getting in position here for more X.
For the X.
Glimmers himself, finds the X here on Sumail, and will connect the Torrent.
Universe does have Black Hole along with the Blink. Secret got to be careful not to group up. Yapzor sitting back, won't take it. It is just in time. He is able to do so now. Jumping forward, Puppy commits onto Sumail. Sumail's in trouble being overrun. EG's position has been completely compromised. 3 down.
Wait, how did that Black Hole cancel?
I believe it was Yapzor just quickly...
No, he didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything?
Yeah, I think he saw Yapzor and was like, okay, well, there must be a Torrent coming, but there wasn't anything, so he canceled it himself, because the X-Torrent came after the Black Hole got canceled onto the other targets.
Well,
now, granted,
let's see if we have a chance for a replay here.
Yeah.
Either way, the push is on. Secret working on the tier 2 tower. They're going to take this down. The way to Roshan is certainly looking a lot more open now. The Desolator under construction momentarily for mid 1.
Oh, we're going to get the replay. X-Torrent back.
Yeah, so starts the fight on Sumail. Set this up with like a Glimmer walk in, then Puppy gets in. The Black Hole comes through.
And he just...
Does the vacuum by Kazu maybe?
Ah, it could be. You're right.
I'm not sure.
I'm not... There's a lot of purple in there, so...
Yeah,
so.
And in any case, great fight by Secret. They get some key kills. They're also not allowing EG to set up their full combo, and they're taking these early scrappy fights. That is what you want to be doing if you're in their position.
And they're getting objective off of these fights, which is important for Secret. Again, they cannot play on the back foot. EG's got the better late game, they got the better scaling hero. For now, Secret should start to look at Roshan. Keep in mind they do have the medallion on mid one, and they have nothing but burst physical damage, so Rosh would be very easy.
EG trying to calm down here, reset for the next fight. But the vision is starting to become a problem for them, as constantly Secret know when EG are off in the jungle farming and the greed is being punished. Charging for a Puppy, looks for the lockdown, trying to cage the wolf, pumping in the searing arrow damage. Mid 1 scores the kill. Secret, find another.
Yep.
This is what the bat was designed to do, just take over the jungle, not allow EG to play their farm game, not allow them to group up the fights. And so far, mostly according to script, but Lumi, with a lineup like this for EG, one fight can always change everything.
And they have, you know, a wombo combo of their own, right? Blink Black Hole with the Epicenter on top with the Echo Slam. EG rotating up top. You'd like to see Hero port back to defend, get the quick kill and push. And guess who's porting back? It's Kazu.
Not really the hero they want to go on. With a completed pipe, a mech almost ready. Actually, Greaves not too far off. He is an extremely tanky force. Basically a walking hospital for the squad.
Interesting to see Yapzor going for the Glimmer Kick and then into a Blink Dagger. Not the item progression that you see too often, but Yapzor loves these kind of high mobility items. He's been pretty much chewing on all the tomes as well.
Yeah, he's got, at this point, all of his key abilities fully leveled up. Max Torrent, Max X, 2 points in the boat.
Also the Torrent talent. Normally you see some of the greedier Kunkka going for the physical damage talent, so you could just neutral a little bit better, but
That's playing into EG's hands right
Yeah,
now. You don't want to be spending too much time farming.
Yeah, like we've been mentioning, you know, they live and die by their skirmishes. They win those fights and get objectives. Surprised to see that Secret hasn't made a Roche attempt just yet. Maybe they're thinking about taking the mid tier 2 first, and then go back for it.
Yeah, it's scary to walk into the pit, even with the towers being down. EG are so good at fighting in those claustrophobic areas. So Secret instead will smoke. They'll look for an opening, but EG are playing this one safe. They tuck back behind their tier 2s.
They go for the Roche now, but Lycan has a wolf in it. RTZ on point here with his micro.
This is why in bygone days, teams always bought a gem.
And EG immediately smoke up.
Lycan.
Puppy breaks the smoke though. Here we go.
Zai's in first. He gets the burrow. It's only on one, and not really the easiest target to take down with Kezu having the mech, having the pipe, and the arrows come blazing in, taking out Zai quickly. Arteezy tries to man fight, but that's not going to happen until Universe is there. The X was already committed. The vacuum though is there to cancel the black hole, and now Secret are on the warpath. They're going to turn for crit. They look to bring him down. Big commitment from Sunel. The totem will end MP. Still though, mid one stays alive. A 3 for 2, and it's with all the ults expended. They might lose Sumail. Oh, 2 more auto attacks. Epsor.
He's not
giving up the ghost yet. On the chase, he didn't quite get it off in time.
He had vision. He had a ward. I'm not sure what happened there.
I think he was mid cast animation.
Yeah,
and he just blinked out in time. So it was truly a game of seconds there. Well, but they expended a lot of ults, and they did not win the fight. Round 2 at the Roche pit should certainly be Secret favorite.
Yeah, Secret mid one is going to death pack a big creep now. He's going to get a ton more HP. They're going to walk right back into it, pop the shrine along. I don't think EG could challenge it a second time. We're going to see that team fight one more time. The boat came out before the black hole did, so even though the black hole looked pretty good for half a second, nobody was losing any HP because of the boat buff. And RTZ was just taking way too much physical damage, the X and the vacuum, dealing with Universe.
Yeah, Kezu really came out big in that fight as well. Also, they initiated on the Darkseer with a pipe and Greaves. Like, that is not the best hero to start the fight on. EG still want to contest this, though, but Zai will be ushered away. Puppy's there with the charge. No siree, he says. Gets the bashes. Now the boat coming in. Ooh. Actually connects on Zai. The Urn's there as well, but he's going to shrine up. Gets back to safety. And I think this has probably been a one of the most interesting developments to me over the last 6 months is that no team gives up Roche for free nowadays at TI. Like, even if they're down 10, 15k gold, unless they are physically being pushed away from the pit, there's always someone with a Blink Dagger or Storm or another mobility here who's like trying to sneak in, especially if they're support, and like even if they probably die 9 times out of 10, yeah, 1 out of 10 where they snatch the Aegis, teams have decided it's worth the risk.
For any game that is like close in contention, that's definitely the case. I remember we were casting the Cloud9 game yesterday, they were down by like 20k. They gave up the rush. they weren't fighting that one, but
we didn't cast Cloud9 yesterday, did we?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, yeah.
Or was it maybe the day before?
Yeah, I think it was the day before.
Okay. But I completely agree with you. Like, you don't give up Roche for free, especially the second one, giving the cheese. How many times have we seen, like, a Roshan being done by one team, and then the other team steals the Aegis and cheese, and the game just completely turns on that point, so. Meanwhile, we got some Necro books being farmed on the mid lane.
So let's take a step back here. It's a moderate lead for Secret. They just got their prized Roshan. They denied EG. Overall game plan for Secret. Is there a timer on this team? What's their next objective? If they like had a script for how this game should play out from here, what would it be?
It's the same script. It's the same kind of fight, and you just keep bringing it to EG. You don't give them any breathing room. Your lineup is designed to apply pressure. I talked about Spirit Breaker as a pressure hero early on, and you just keep going. The Deso would help you take the objective on mid one, and they will likely finish the BKB first on Klings, and then start to try to finish the game. Whereas if you're EG fan, even though the game is currently not looking so well here for them, they still maintain high ground. They still maintain one of the best high ground defense with the BKB Black Hole, with the Bat Rider, and the Sand King. So I think both teams have a lot of ways to play the remainder of the game still.
Mid one banging on the front door as he lays into this tier 2. You can see Zai is trying to do his best split pushing job here top, but he is being charged by Puppy. He might not actually be able to TP out. It looks like he's in a lot of trouble as the sentry gets deployed. They're going to nether strike him back. Yapsar's still in position. The damage is not the best from these two, but they slowly work the Scorpion down. He burrows again in the tree. Meanwhile, in the river, the real fight breaking out as they've tried to get the power play going here. EG, though, still losing their Enigma pretty early in the fight. Big commitment already. They dive MP. He scurries away. The Wolf's time is being wasted, and his ult's about to end as Puppy sees opportunity. Charging in, gets denied by the Fissure, but mid one with the cleanup. You know, EG are like, we have this 4v3 in the river, let's go fight, but Secret are just too tanky and too elusive to consistently wrangle them. And not to mention, even if you do, they're usually not dying.
Yeah. I think the big problem that Enigma currently is facing is that, you know, when you see Enigma being picked, you're always like, okay, Black Hole, how's it going to get canceled? How many stuns can I BKB off? Things like that. But the other kind of more barbaric way to cancel Black Hole is just to kill them. And Mid-1 is like, okay, every time I'm going to put my medallion on you, I'm going to strafe you, and you're going to just die. So Enigma normally likes to build things like Octarine and things like that, and he has one on Quick Buy, but I think maybe a plate mail into Shiva's Guard is perhaps more effective for a game like this.
I think what we're also seeing is just how integral the Darkseer and the way he's itemized has been to this game. Like, Kezu alone actually really punishes this 5-man combo with the Greaves, with the Pipe, and also just with the Darkseer's nature as a hero, the vacuum in the wall, excellent crowd control, and honestly it makes it so that like EG is trying to play their game, and their game is not necessarily even that favorable for them. Yeah. He is like the one-man antidote to that combo.
It also helps that,
at least for now.
It also helps that EG is initiating onto the Darkseer on these fights, as opposed to, you know, on the other guys and try to kill them quick. But it's like, it's hard either way, right? Because if you don't kill the Darkseer, then he just mechs and pipes with the rest of the team. So it's...
You mentioned the Necrobook. We haven't really had a whole lot of time to breathe the last couple minutes, but I wanted to get your thoughts because the build nowadays for most Legend players is Mid-1 tries to set up here. Might quickly kill off the Sandcade. He is on the chase. The Burrow Strike committed, so no way to interrupt this. They're going to pull him back with the X. The Torrent marks his demise. But yeah, this Necrobook build has really fallen off in popularity. It's all about Arnlit Mask of Madness. So do you like the build? I'm curious why RTZ went for this game.
I mean, there's 2 Invis heroes on the other side. Just having the ability to have that detection always in team fights is quite good. But I do agree with you. I think the Mask of Madness Arnlit build plays better when you're ahead. The Necrobook, I don't know, it just feels so weak, especially when you're behind like this.
It's obviously you're up against a Weaver and a Clinks, right? So that minus armor can be extra brutal. If you're running in and they're just hitting you with a Deso, a Medallion, you're melting probably. But on the flip side, the Necrobook minions also seem to be getting crushed.
Yep.
Clinks is happy to chew those up.
YapzOr has been missing a lot of his Expose combo, and now...
But he has a BKB though, they've got to completely change on him. The vacuum interrupts and now Mid-1 can turn if he needs to. Zai's low, the swarm hits him, and now Universe comes in. Decent to Black Hole. YapzOr doesn't have a whole lot to deal with this, but the Clinks is just dishing out damage into it. Still though, the team's getting overrun, still is not BKB'd. Mid-1's now lassoed and controlled. BKB finally comes out, but it only marks his tomb. Now YapzOr on the run. Oh, Secret. Not respecting the EG combo. They're going to lose a 4th as the Kunkka gets picked off to climactically end the fight.
Yeah, Clinks got pushed away, and he didn't activate his early BKB. It made sense there because even if he activated BKB and went in a fight, Universe was waiting for the Black Hole. So good patience by Mid-1 to wait out the Black Hole. But unfortunately, he didn't have enough damage to kill the Enigma. Enigma came with 4 HP. We're going to watch that fight one more time as Mid-1 is just getting heavily pressured. He walks away, Could easily activate the BKB here, but keeps on walking away because he knows that Enigma is coming with a Black Hole. He waits out the Black Hole and then tries to kill him, but not enough damage. And great fissure here from the Shaker to break out his damage. I think had he activated the BKB to kill the Enigma, maybe that fight would have turned a little bit differently, but the rest of EG was coming in fast and hot.
I mean, I think you at least give it a shot. You know, maybe it turns out it's not enough damage and you still lose the fight, but you don't go for this item to like save it for a rainy day. Those are the crucial fights that could decide the game.
And he used it right before he died. That was a 10-second BKB, so that was
definitely unfortunate for Mid-1. But Secret, well, what was once that 4K gold lead that they scrapped and clawed to achieve, now basically a dead even game, and they'll have to reset. And we do see, you know, that's a fight where it is hard to deal with the Black Hole now that Enigma's BKB. They've been able to cancel it pretty quickly in 2 fights, but nothing really, unless somehow the Spirit Breaker can get a charge in.
Right, or Nether Strike again, like I mentioned earlier. Do you think that that's how this game's going to come down to? It's just like, how good are the Black Holes, how long he could channel it for?
Secret are hoping that they could play it in such a way that it doesn't, but I think
it kind of feels like
when you've got veteran hands like Universes on the Enigma, it seems relatively unlikely he completely airballs those Black Holes. So I think it will certainly be one of the crucial factors that decides this game.
So we do see Kezu going back for a Helm of the Dominator. We seen the Darkseer, I think yesterday when we casted, went for this build. I mentioned how it's very easy to dominate a creep and then you could put the Iron Shell and then farm with it. The added benefit in this game is that you could have a creep with you all time for mid one to actually eat. And that's pretty critical in some of these team fights when they break out suddenly. The dominated creep also has more HP than the ones you find in the jungle.
That's yeah, it seems like a really nice item synergy with the team's heroes.
There's like, it used to be a debate where if Klinks would even build a helm for himself, obviously when your teammates build it for you and just eat it, much better for the Klinks.
Reminds me of, wasn't there some crazy like 90-minute game last year in the group stage where, was it MVP? I think MVP got like multiple helms of the Dominator, and then they would just like start, like, if you redominate a creep, obviously you lose the old one.
You disassemble it. Or no, you put it down. You just put it down.
Put it down. They would buy a new Dominator, and then they would just surround the throne with like all these Dominator creeps. They were slowly building their army of the undead. So. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see that.
I would hope
famous last.
I would hope we see some 90-minute games. You know, I'm always down for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, then you'll perk up. That is, Lumi's not a big coffee guy, but that is
my natural coffee. Yeah, 90-minute games.
Well, we're a third of the way there, as EG. Then.
Waduh, melek.
They're outside the base, they might be walking into.
Look at what Yapzor's got queued up. I know you kind of brought up as kind of like a semi-joke, but he's got Ags queued up. Have you seen those highlight reels where like the Kunkka blinks next to a team and then like bolt backwards, and then it's just like a vacuum bolt towards the team, and then likely there's a torrent waiting, there's, you know, a vacuum wall waiting. We're gonna see some highlights.
You gotta put the shades on as you do that. Put your other eye patch on.
Oh, well, that will impair your vision. How about you do it first, and then as it's going, then you put the shades on.
They're going to try to start the fight on Puppy here. Fissure comes in from Sumail. The Yule Scepter to interrupt this chain of initiation. Now they...
Astaga.
Chant Totem comes through, but they get scared and they back away as the Black Hole's committed, but it's on a BKB. Klinks, he's not taking too much damage. They can look to turn this. Chunking down Universe. Mid one gets his vengeance. Now turning on the Batrider as well. He pressed his BKB, and Secret will deny EG here. Zai comes in late, and he'll likely be the third down if Yapzor can get him, but he doesn't have the mana. It's Puppy charging through, connects on two. Also finding Sumail in addition to Zai. They'd love to grab additional kills, but even more than that, they would love to take this road. So you can see they all frantically scramble about, and then they say, yeah, let's get it.
Yep, the buyback had to be expended for that engagement. Puppy was in a great position charging back into the fight. Unfortunately, the rest of his team was on the high ground, so they could not take advantage of the fact that he was chain stunning essentially half the team by himself. Still though, Secret wins the team fight. They get Aegis and Cheese, and you know, they could kill mid one once. I don't know if they could kill him twice. Although the second time would be easier because he likely will not have Death Pack.
Or BKB. Yes, let's see if they can pull it off. They're down a Black Hole now, though. It is a pretty good time to push. However, beware the Echo Slam, which is still available for Sumail to deploy. As EG are going to tap the Shrine, try and stay in fighting shape. They now make their move, jumping onto mid one. They want to crack him and break that Aegis early, and he will lose it. He was compromised up on the high grounds. Really could have sat farther back.
Nice extension.
Double dust flying out. They're going to try. The boat's going to rescue them, but Burrow Strike from Zai is available. They want him, and they are going to get him, lasso him back, and that is going to be killed through Aegis. And now EG, one of the best chasing team with the Lycan, they will take down Puppy as well. That is a dieback. My man, mid one, why was he like, he was next to the melee racks trying to hit people.
All right, well, he does actually have buybacks, but yeah, that is a double death. I'm not really sure. I think just a bit over-eager. They didn't need to kill heroes, right?
Yeah.
They could have just sat back. Klinks can strafe from distance. Weaver can blink. The rest of the heroes can wait and reserve, because the one thing that could ruin them, the Blink, Black Hole, BKB, is not available.
Right.
So if they go in for a lasso, like the Darkseer can counter-initiate, the Kunkka can X you back. There's really no... You can approach that very systematically, in a very organized fashion, but they chose instead to just rush headlong into the base.
Yep.
It's kind of the nature of how you want to play with a Spirit Breaker and with these heroes outside, but I don't think it's how you approach the siege.
Not high ground, which surprises me greatly. This is a Puppy-led team. Like, this is the one point in the game where he's generally very good, you know, slapping his team a little bit. Don't go crazy, you know, systematic siege, and then this happens.
We do not encourage any physical violence.
We do not.
But
that was a metaphoric backslap, you know. It's just like, hey, make sure we don't do anything throwy. That is a huge throw, in my opinion. A game that looked like very winnable in that position.
It's only a throw if they lose, Lumi. It could be a huge throw.
Okay. I mean, now EG's got their black hole back. They got all of their spells back. Let's check if they have any smokes ready to go. Nothing on the heroes yet. I'm not sure if EG is out of smoke in their shop either. So that is going to be the next point of contention.
Is there a point where it's just like too late for Secret? Do you feel like it's at some stage of this game, EG, once they get enough items, enough levels, are just too strong in the late game? Or do you feel, no matter how late this game goes, that Secret's lineup always can match up?
I think Secret's definitely got at least 10 to 15 more minutes. I think once EG, if they start itemizing for some hard way to kill the Klings, whether it's like, let's say, Abyssal Blade on RTZ or a Hex coming out from one of these like rich EG cores, then I think that gets like super hard for mid one and the rest of the Secret. But for now, they still have a couple of team fights left.
Secret desperately in need of a 2-0 to start the day. Still looking for that first game victory here. It's been back and forth, but for the first time in a long time, it is an EG advantage now. Up by a bit over 1,000 gold, hugging their base. Playing it safe, but while most of the team is camped inside the base, you'll notice, like we saw earlier, Sand King was split pushing top. Right now, Bat Rider is deep in the dire tree line, all the way to the north. So EG is always sending some sort of expedition out to keep the lanes pushed, to cut the creep waves, and to try and eke out a bit of farm. So it's not like total turtling, it's like, you know, a hybrid turtle farm strategy.
It is somewhat dangerous because, you know, we've seen Zai trying to do that earlier and then he's just charged. You know, there's a Clinks right on top of him. And speaking of Zai getting charged, that is exactly what's happening.
A long way to go for the smoke gank. Zai just wants to farm a wave.
Boom. I'm here.
Out of time, but still pumping into rage for the nether stick. The burrow gets him out to safety. Zai coming out. Clutch there, and now EG's turn to smoke. They'll make the move. Instant reply.
That is putting on the shades, escaping the gang. My goodness, the timing on that. Alright, here we go.
Perfect.
10 out of 10.
The Wolf is leading the scouting party as it tries to get eyes on Secret. Secret have to be careful about this initiation. They don't have a gem currently. And now in comes the Fissure to start the fight. Follow up onto the Darkseer. The Echo. They commit. They hole as well. And running into it is the Spirit Breaker who can interrupt it. Universe gets off a Butte. And the black hole overwhelms. Now 4 have fallen. A complete rout of Secret.
And now they have enough damage to kill through the Darkseer. No pipe activation, no grieve activation. They just changed them completely from 100 to 0. And it's EG going the other way.
Secret go on to lose this game. They're going to be kicking themselves. Missed opportunities, overextensions, mistakes that were avoidable will come back to haunt them. It's not over yet, but EG certainly want to make it so. They are barreling down mid while we watch the tail end of that fight.
Yeah.
Again, the BKB, Blink Black Hole, there is no real reliable reply, and 2 fights now. Universe has found an opportunity and taken it.
Yeah, Nether Strike was on cooldown. Remember they used it on Sand King earlier, just before that fight happened. So that's why Universe had no pressure whatsoever.
And at some point, he's going to have a Lincoln Sphere, you know, if he feels like he is worried about another strike, at which point...
At this point, it doesn't seem like he's even worried. He hasn't even got cancelled.
So EG will take the tier 3, the way to the shrines now lies open, and they're not going to overextend. They know the black hole's on cooldown. They will focus on securing map control as they have a little shrine pounding party.
Now I don't need to tell you
some fireworks and then get the hell out.
I don't need to tell you that why map control is good, but in particular with the context of this game, keep in mind that Secret has been getting every single Roshan up to this point. Should EG be able to challenge and tech the next Aegis, I think that goes back to your previous question, is when is the hard GG? That is it, right? If EG has Aegis, I don't think Team Secret could win the fight after that. So this past 5-minute turn of events, you lose one big fight, you lose your tier 3, you lose Shrine, you lose map control. Ice Frog forbids, if they lose Roche, it is lights out for Team Secret.
Ice Frog forbids.
Well, you don't know what religion people are, but you know, we're playing Dota.
I know what
so-
religion you are.
Yeah, there you go.
You believe in the one true frog.
Give me that OS Frog voice.
No, not the OS frog. The OS frog is an imposter.
Oh,
leader.
okay, I see.
The OS frog is a lesser creature. The ice frog is the original, the great, the pure.
You know, no amount of
Ice
flattering.
frog giveth, and ice frog
No amount of
take
flattering
away.
will let you cast the grand finals, right? Like you could just keep talking right now. It's just not gonna happen.
It's all about the TI-8 invite, Lemmy. I'm just starting my
Oh, I
campaign.
see.
I'm just starting my campaign.
Prepping ahead. I like that. I like that.
But EG, I think, you know, as we've kind of been touching on, we'll continue to reinforce throughout the game. There's no rush for them there's plenty of key items they could still complete. Some damage items, perhaps, for Sumail, now that he's got all his utility. Zai, obviously, something like an Ags or Lotus Orb would be wonderful. Universe can get that refresher, or Linked Sphere. Crit, a BKB, and 4-stat eventually would be wonderful on the Bat Rider. Arteezy, some point you probably replace that Necro Book, still room for the Abyssal. There's lots of big items they can pick up, and they're in no hurry.
Yep.
Whereas Secret are feeling the pressure, feeling the heat.
Crit sending a beautiful spot to break any kind of smoke rotation into their jungle, and they're gonna just chill. Also, previously, EG was playing around a huge cooldown of Black Hole, but because he's got the 50% CDR talent and also the Octarine core, he's looking at a 102-second cooldown on the Black Hole, which is very respectable for such a game-changing ultimate. Also, side note, 60-second cooldown on Hannah Midas. Just 10 out of 10 as well.
The cooldown reduction is such a big deal, especially when you combine it with the
Tadi katanya
it's not quite every fight, but it's in those late game scenarios. Oftentimes, like you'll have to either take a Rosh and then try to push a lane, or you know just clear all the waves, push up the side lanes, then go down mid. You know, it takes a little while to get to your ideal staging point. And by that time, a lot of times the Black Hole's either ready or the fight can start and it'll cool down in the middle of the fight. So, you know, that 100 seconds versus like the 3 minutes is, you know, a real game changer.
I have no idea why Name1's talents are the way that they are now. It almost should be where you get the 120 gold or the 15% CR at level 20, and instead of 15.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that those are a little more game-changing than the one Maleficus instance.
Because getting the CDR at 15 means so much more, because you're gonna, the 15% CDR allows you Midas so many more times to get to the 20 and 25 and whatnot. But let's have that debate for a different day, as EG is.
We'll put our Enigma Chop Shop on hold as EG make their move through the river. Lurking on the high ground,
Arcane move.
Our Secret, and they were scouted by a Radiant Scan, but Yapso is going to jump in first, tries to bait something out. A little extra shenanigans for him. Now Sumail confidently lumbering up with the Shiva's Echo initiation. He gets the party started. Zai's there to follow up. Look for the hole. He's got to find That's 3! Universe, you monster! How could you? Puppy and all his monitors are in shambles. Secret on the run, completely overwhelmed.
He didn't get the Clinks, and he was taking quite a bit of damage, but his teams backed him up. They had a disarm, they had a Yules. Clinks did not do any damage in that team fight. With a big win, EG goes straight for the Raksas. Backdoor protection, be damned. They don't...
Waduh.
don't care. They're going to run it over. They could go for the GG if they want. They're going to go for the safe triple lane of Rax, or just a second lane of Rax. And this is an EG victory any way that you toss it.
Stable, patient, and deadly late game. That was the EG draft. That was the game plan, and they executed it. Wasn't flawless, and I think you look back at this game, some of those key fights in the 20 to 30 minute range where Secret...
masih nggak terima kenapa Chester meninggal asli orang.
Mas, belum move on. Udah sebulan, Mas.
Belum karena sahabat.
Had a bunch of big successes, but then a few really critical mistakes. And perhaps that also speaks a little bit to the draft, Libby, where it's not that the draft couldn't work, but they couldn't afford to miss their windows.
Yes.
This EG lineup could make mistakes and still
Kenapa nggak Fajar
a
sih?
second win, have a fresh take, and a new opportunity. Secret really didn't have too much margin for error.
Yeah, I think the secret lineup is also, like you mentioned, just super hard to play, much harder to play compared to the EG lineup. And you make a mistake, you make 2 mistakes, that is tough. And the impossible or the probable matchup in EG has ages now, so I don't know. We're gonna watch the team fight one more time and just watch Enigma slowly lumbering forward and
no.
It's the max range black hole. That's when you put the shades on, you know. It's like I got all 3, all at the corner.
Also little things that help there, like using the clinks. He did not BKB again.
Disarming.
Wouldn't have mattered, to be honest. Like that black hole was gonna go off for the full duration anyway.
Yep.
But you know, just all the little details were executed quite crisply by EG.
And now he has Lincoln's Fair.
And also the other really big thing is, you know, still even now, Secret do not have, as far as I can tell, a gem. I don't know if they've had one at any point. Maybe I think they might have lost one in that fight. But it seems like the Wolves are giving them the vision. Sword did lose a gem there. But consistently those Wolves have been uphill around corners, giving them vision that's setting up these fights, and that is really one of the hidden attributes that makes Lycan such a strong carry when he's in the meta.
Yeah, remember when, you know, when the game just begun, all of these Spearbreaker rotation have been spotted out and countered. We were talking about how EGA was playing very well with rotation. They're going to go right into Crit. Crit has a self-Yules.
Black Hole is ready again, though. The combo's available. They got to be careful, though. This puppy wants to back away, but the boat comes crashing in. What will it accomplish? Really nothing. It's a bit of a fail boat as EG just popped their BKBs and rained down pain. Applause for Zai, patting himself on the back. EG hot on the chase. Secret won't give up. They throw in the towel. Another loss for them, and a crucial one here. If they lose this game too, they are guaranteed to be no better than 8-8, and they have to then 2-0 Liquid as well as Fnatic. A very likely lower bracket berth awaits them, I think, at that point, Lumi. So trying to at least scrap a Game 2 win is essential for Team Secret.
And they had it this game. They were very close at one point. They had Aegis, they were up on the high ground, and I think high ground Dota is probably the hardest part of Dota. You could get ahead, but whether you could finish or not is a different story.
Close but no cigar. The boys in blue, well, they're happy now. 6-3. We'll be back for Game 2 after this.
Waduh, ganti dulu Pak lagunya.
Seen that for a while, but it is a possibility. Who's the best hero against the PA? You can have anyone. Who's the best hero against the PA? Good question. Because the Ember, I think they're able to deal with what they have.
Yeah, their heroes are okay against them.
But they need a controller against the PA. They don't have magical burst damage.
It's always hard to answer those kind of questions without looking at the hero roster. It's, I'm gonna
just hit the button.
Quickly
You can still watch the draft of my screen. You're fine. Is this when you get your Zeus?
So generally, I think what PA struggles against is heroes that have.
Dah.